Hi friends, I am Srini Edvali and you are watching Srini Unplugged. Please do like this video, share and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Friends, in the Wokeism series that we started, there are only two topics left out, which is one is basically capitalism and other is democracy. So in today's video we are going to discuss about capitalism, and then I'll follow it up with democracy, and we'll conclude the Wokeism series. Okay, and that should basically lay a strong foundation for me to give you practical and live examples of how wokeism is interacting with all of these various economic and ideologies. All right, so without much further ado, let's get started with capitalism. So friends, if you look at the definition of capitalism, so capitalism is defined as an economic system characterized by private ownership of the means of production, where individuals and businesses operate for profit in competitive markets. It is one of the predominant economic systems in the world and is often contrasted with socialism and communism, which involve greater government control and economic activity and resource distribution. So basically what this core ideology is talking about is exactly in opposite direction to what socialism and communism talks about. Communism talks about community ownership of the means of production and distribution. Socialism talks about governmental control of means of production and distribution. Capitalism talks about individual ownership as an individual entity or a business entity, the ownership of means of production and distribution. So this is what capitalism is talking about, and this is always at loggerheads with communism and socialism. Okay, components that basically form a capitalistic ideology and a capitalistic society. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Friends, number one is private ownership. As we discussed, private ownership is the first point. Capitalism emphasizes the right of individuals and businesses to own and control property, including land, resources and means of production such as factories and machinery, as we discussed just a few seconds ago, right? For example, individuals can own and operate small businesses such as family-owned restaurants or independent retail stores. So in the Indian context, if you want to understand this, the kirana shops, right, that we go and buy our groceries and purchase our groceries from, capitalistic model of operation, right? Then if you scale the same thing into a higher scale, okay, then if you look at let's say a single kirana store having 5,000 10,000 branches, so the scale has increased, right? So then it becomes a corporation. So for example, if we live in a tech world, so let's take the example of tech examples. So for examples, like large corporations like Apple, Microsoft and ExxonMobil are privately owned and controlled by shareholders. So what's point number two? Point number two is free market. Capitalism relies on free market and competitive markets where buyers and sellers interact to determine prices and allocate resources. Okay, prices are typically determined by supply and demand forces. Okay, so that's one fundamental difference. Then example is stock exchanges like New York Stock Exchange or Nasdaq allows buyers and sellers to trade shares of publicly traded companies based on market dynamics. Okay, then farmers selling crops at local farmers markets engaged in free market transactions with consumers. So for example, when we talk about free market, recently the tomato prices in India are sold up to 220 rupees also, and now the same tomatoes are selling at 20 rupees per kilo. Okay, so dynamics of free market. Third is profit motive. Okay, in a capitalistic system, individuals and businesses are motivated by the pursuit of profit. They seek to maximize the financial gains through economic activity. Okay, economic activity is nothing but buying and selling. Okay, and through buying and selling, they try to maximize and bring the best profits for their enterprise, entity and business. So examples: entrepreneurs start new business with the goal of making a profit. For example, a tech startup aims to develop product services that will generate revenues. Investors in the stock market buy and sell stocks with the intention of earning a return on their investment. So if you look at these 2 points, the overall underlying theme is basically profit making, right? So this is one of the core tenets of a capitalistic system, profit making. Okay, that's the third point. Then you have competition. So capitalism thrives on competition among businesses. Okay, this competition is believed to drive innovation, efficiency and productivity as companies try to offer better products and services at lower prices. Obviously, when you have competing companies, you always have innovation taking place at a very rapid pace. So okay, so one of the examples of innovation in the market is basically technology has enabled, let's say in the earlier heydays, if you want to travel from point A to point B, The only choices that you have are public transport system or to some extent taxis and cabs, okay? But again, the challenge there was that, how do you find these buses and, public transport systems and taxis? So there's a lot of gaps or lackiness in the entire process. Come tech, come innovation, you have Ubers, you have Olas today, where everything is online, and you just with a click of your finger you can book your travel from point A to point B, okay? If flight tickets, train tickets, private bus tickets from point A to point B, public transport tickets that you want to buy from point A to point B, wherever you are traveling. So everything, there is an innovation because of capitalistic society, because when there is a competition, you will always have innovation taking place in the system. So that is what this point is talking about, competition. The next point is consumer choice. Now, capitalism allows for a wide variety of goods and services to be produced, giving consumers a range of choice in the marketplace. Consumer preferences and demand play a significant role in shaping the economy. Okay, when more than one company are doing the same kind of products and services, then as a consumer you always have a choice whether to go for A or B. Whoever gives you the best in terms of pricing and delivery, I think you will work with them, right? So common sense. Example, supermarkets offer a wide range of products from different brands, giving consumers choice in terms of price, quality and variety. DMart in India is a best example, right? Typically, while I spoke about Kirana stores, when you go to DMart, you will always have 20 to 25% less prices on all the products that you want to buy, okay? So, example of consumer choice. Then, again, one more example could be streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu and Amazon Video provide consumers with a variety of content options, okay? Earlier we had only choice of, movies in theaters or CDs and DVDs, in the good olden days you bought DVDs of movies and then you played, but today everything, is a streaming service, so innovation, right? Then the next point is minimum government invention. So what happens in capitalism is there is minimal government intervention. Capitalism generally advocates for limited government involvement in the economy. Governments typically intervene to enforce property rights, ensure fair competition, provide public goods. Okay, example, infrastructure and defense, but do not control or own major industries. Basically, what the role of the government is like a umpire in a cricket match. Okay, they regulate and foresee the things that the entire match is going and played in the right spirit in the right direction. Okay. Example is in the United States, the Federal Trade Commission enforces antitrust laws to promote fair competition among businesses, but it does not own or operate companies. Okay, they make laws, right? And laws have to be enforced. So that's what it is talking about. Hong Kong is often cited as a jurisdiction with minimal government intervention in economic affairs, allowing businesses to operate with limited regulatory interference. They basically act as what you call your umpires, as I mentioned in the cricket match, right? Because in India we are a cricket friendly nation. So if you have to draw an analogy in Hong Kong government basically plays the role of an umpire, okay? Overseeing that everything is played in a fair manner, okay? Then again, so profit and loss is something that we already discussed in a capitalistic society. Then the next point is innovation and entrepreneurship. So capitalism encourages entrepreneurship and innovation. Entrepreneurs are free to start new businesses, develop new technologies and see opportunities for profit. Example, innovations like smartphones, electric cars and social media platforms are products of entrepreneurial ventures within the capitalist system. I discussed this in 3-4 points before also, right? Startups in Silicon Valley such as Airbnb and Uber disrupted traditional industries through innovative business model. Okay, this is what we already discussed. Then you have income inequality. So one of the challenges with capitalism is where communism and socialism comes in is income inequality. The capitalism often results in income inequality as individuals and businesses with more resources or in more successful ventures tend to accumulate wealth. This aspect has been a subject of criticism and debate, obviously, right? In the United States, income inequality is evident with high earners making significantly more than lower income individuals, leading to varying levels of wealth accumulation. Globally, some countries have significant income disparities, where a small portion of the population holds a significant share of the wealth. Best example, George Soros' uncle, okay? And he funds all anti-national elements, not only for India, but anywhere across the globe. Voluntary exchange, next point, okay? The transaction capitalism are generally based on voluntary exchanges between parties. Individuals and businesses engage in trade and transactions willingly aiming to benefit from the exchange. Okay, so this is what is the last and final point. So a typical example is when a person purchases a cup of coffee at a coffee or book at a bookstore, they engage in a voluntary exchange where both parties agree on the terms of the transaction. Employers and employees engage in voluntary labor contracts where both parties agree on wages and working conditions. So this in a nutshell is what capitalism, ideology is all about. So what are some of the capitalistic countries that we see today? Okay, United States of America, United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, Australia, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, Switzerland and South Korea are some of the capitalistic societies that are there in the world today. Okay, so friends, if you look at the entire capitalistic ideology, so okay, this is completely in contrast to your socialism and communism. This is in completely contrast to your Marxism also. Somewhere very similar to postmodernism. Okay, and since we are on the cusp of coming to wokeism, I'll explain to you the interplay of all these things with wokeism. How does it work? But for now, I hope you have understood what capitalism is all about, how it differs from your communism and socialism. And in the next video, we'll discuss democracy, and then I'll tell you in details what wokeism is all about, and how wokeism has an interplay with all this various systems. Okay, friends, with that I come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Friends, as I always keep mentioning, please do let me know your thoughts and opinions on this video, because it basically helps me to bring you the best curated content that is of interest to all of you. Okay, so please do help me on that, friend, and let's all grow together as a community by sharing and exchanging ideas. So friends, once again, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, Jai Hind, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.